Today we are going to be discussing the various styles of contemporary art. The contemporary period or the modern period, when in reference to art, is typically any artwork created in the following styles: Modernism, Postmodernism, Surrealism, Constructivism, Futurism, Cubism, and Minimalism. We will briefly explore some of the characteristics of each of the 7 important contemporary art movements while introducing a few of the prominent works, figures, and techniques. The first movement we will explore is modernism. This style dates back to the late 19th and early 20th century, with notable artists contributing to the modernist movement such as Picasso or Matisse. Here are a few examples of artwork in this style. As you can see, it is a significant departure from the classical traditions of the Renaissance, often rejecting the obligation to portray realistic depictions of beauty and nature. It also works to stray from the confines of conventional themes like religion, morality, and history. The second theme we will look at is surrealism. With pioneers of this very specific style, such as Salvador Dali and Marcel Duchamp, this French movement embodied one particular guiding principle: to liberate culture and consciousness from reality. Here are a few examples of likely familiar works from this style. Surrealism attempted to embrace pure humanistic functioning without feeling the limitations of what is aesthetically pleasing. Cubism is designated from other art forms by its natural ability or desire, if you will, to provide different angles of the same subject or idea. Partly created and partly popularized by both Picasso and Braque, this movement is also considered to be a genre that promotes artistic exploration of both geometry and perspective simultaneously. As we can see in these examples, this style relies more heavily on concept rather than subject. Another contemporary art form is called postmodernism. With its core principle that art has a fundamental truth, postmodernism demonstrates the idea that art should be subjective and open to interpretation. Artists who work in this style tend to believe that a single perception cannot accurately or completely define any one condition. Artists of this particular movement include Andy Warhol and Hans Saipour. Minimalism, the idea that art pieces should work independently of others and be standalone artworks, is a very odd movement in a sense. It has no real manifesto, no concrete beliefs, and is really more of a genre than a movement, with many artists working in this style but not considering themselves or their work to align with minimalism in any way. As you can see through these pieces, this style describes neutral and independent artistry. On the other hand, we have constructivism, and if art forms had opposites, this would likely contrast with minimalism the most. Proponents of this movement believe that art should resemble the real world, but still represent social aspects as well. Most artists of this style create art that often depicts machinery and futuristic designs. However, this should not be confused with Futurism, the movement that emphasizes speed, progress, technology, and military aggression. This movement was created by Filippo Tommaso Marinetti and is somewhat related to constructivism, but still distinct enough to be a standalone movement. This style places a renewed focus on scenes of movement, motion, and rhythm, but does so in a forward-thinking, almost but not really constructivist context.